29th, 2021, I'm calling to order the Board of Aldermen meeting. So if I get a roll call, please.
Alderman Stevens?
Here.
Alderman Hudson?
Here.
Alderman Motley? Here. Alderman Wilkins?
Present.
Alderman Rogers? Alderman Magley?
Yeah.
If I could get everybody stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, folks. There are going to be some changes to the agenda, just so everybody knows. Comments from the citizens will be moved. It's not listed, but will be moved under item 4 after discussion regarding the ballot issues for April 6th. Okay, and then we are going to move up. After comment from citizens, I'll be moving up the appointments that we have from lower in the agenda, so you guys and folks don't have to sit here. Unless you want to, you're welcome to stay. But so I'm going to be moving the appointments under item 7 up under item 4. Okay, so for everybody to know. So that moves us to the item 3, proclamations. I'm going to do one, the Arbor Day one, just be noted, it's to be done and will be done at the ceremony. That's when I'm going to do that one. We're going to do one tonight. So the first one I have is I have a proclamation I'd like to present to you guys at the church, at the school system, based upon the fact that we've been through some unbelievably difficult times in the last year. So this proclamation reads, a proclamation commending the Centralia R6 School District on their dedication and resiliency during the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas in March 2020, the world experienced unprecedented circumstances created by the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas the governor of the state of Missouri ordered all Missouri public and charter schools to remain closed for the remainder of the 2019-20 academics as of April 9th, 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and whereas the Centralia R6 School District Board, administrators, educators, and support staff were instrumental in smooth transition from an in-seat to online learning for Centralia R6 students early in the pandemic, and whereas the schools serve as a pillar of our community that promotes community resilience by promotion of human development, care of the children, and provision of stable environments, and whereas the Centralia School District took necessary precautions to implement a workable plan and allowed Centralia students to have in-seat education for the 2021 school year. And whereas with many other schools in the state were periodically shut down due to COVID-19 illness or outbreaks, Centralia R6 schools were able to remain in-seat classes. And whereas the students of the Centralia R6 school district worked around hardships, showed great resiliency when faced with limited participation in events due to county regulations, but have continued to excel in academics, sports, and the arts. And whereas the Centralia School District has been transparent in their actions and provided clear plans and guidelines that have provided a safe environment for our students and teachers during this unsettled time in our nation. And therefore, by this proclamation, the City of Centralia commends and does hereby express heartfelt appreciation to all those affiliated with the Centralia R6 School District for their commitment to providing effective, efficient means to provide quality learning in the classroom, setting for the youth of Centralia during the time of uncertainties in our nation's history during the COVID-19 pandemic. I, Chris Cox, Mayor of the City of Centralia, do hereby proclaim and encourage the citizens of Centralia, Missouri to recognize the contributions of the Centralia R6 School District to the youth of our community, dated this 29th day of March 2021. I would also say, I think it's how you go about what you do too. And I think that we're in good hands with what you're doing. I hear a lot of good comments, but at the same time, I think we've set the standard for other schools and encourage other schools to not be afraid, and the planning you all done has put us in a great spot. We've had a wrestling team that's finished 2 years in a row, second state, which is an unbelievably hard accomplishment. We had football teams and parents and fans and faculty that went out of town for the games. We didn't have a home season at all. We're hoping that changed this year. And then it was just challenging for anybody in the arts or anything that was going on at the schools for you guys to. There's a lot more preparation, a lot more things to take into consideration. But you guys tirelessly continued to do that so that the youth could stay and our schools could stay as close to normal as possible, which was unprecedented times. So I'm really thank you for what you did. And it's how we go about what we do, I think, that makes us special. This is great. Thank you, sir.
And just a quick second. I mean, it's obviously we're all going through the same thing, so we're not necessarily unique. But I've learned in my short time that if Centralia doesn't do it, no one else will. And so we didn't like what we heard this summer. We just made a decision, lead with common sense, do the right thing. It's not been sunshine and roses every day, but we've managed it. So, but it's support that we get from our partners that makes that possible. So I really do want to thank the board aldermen. So thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So that moves us now to item 4, discussions regarding the ballot issues for April 6, 2021 municipal election. There's 2 things that, other than the mayor's race and the alderman's races that are opposed, that kind of thing on there. The use tax is something that we need to get and have on Facebook and everywhere we can. Just due to the fact that it's an understanding. It says it's a tax. It's in the Centralia use and voter information that went out in everybody's bills, I believe. And I heard that from many people, so that was a good job of doing that. We have it on our Facebook page, I believe, as well. We need to spread the word as much as we can. You know, it's not an extra tax. It's a collection of a tax that for use of the streets for people to have on internet sales, basically. It started out as the Wayfair tax because it was an online ordering type of thing that came into town. So we just need to make sure that we push and educate on this as much as we can as we get down the stretch here the next week, if that makes sense to everybody. So I just want to bring it up that this is not an additional tax, but as soon as you see a use tax, you figure, you know, what else am I being taxed for? And I think that's the biggest concern when you look at it. So that's what's going on with that one. And then the other one is the 3-year term. The 3-year term makes sense for the mayor's term to get moved to that. And I've had many people say, well, so you'll be, if you get reelected or the other person gets elected that's running against you, they'll have a 3-year term. No, it won't go into effect until the next election for him or her or whoever is the mayor at that time. That's when it would go into effect. But it makes sense because now the mayor, he or she goes out on the same side with the same council members always, right? And so this alternates this position of the mayor's position side to side, and it eliminates people being able to say there's alliances or anything like that going on. It eliminates that kind of speculation, anything like that, because it could happen. You know, I mean, you know, if 3 people decided they wanted to, you know, I don't know, a giraffe left the city square up here because they like giraffes, and they voted in, and it gets 3-3. Well, that's when he or she breaks the tie. You know, so we could end up with a giraffe potentially, but I don't think we have had any close to anything like that going on. But it was brought up last time. Would not have affected the term of the mayor at that time, and I had 2 or 3 people that thought that I wanted a 3-year term and that thought I was going to get to add an extra year. So there's some education he's going with that of why it makes sense for that to move back and forth. Okay, it's balance of power and fairness and equality of who works with who and at what time they come in and out. If that makes sense. So we need to share that too if anybody has any questions and spread that word as well, I think. Okay. Any thoughts from anybody on either one of those 2 topics? I know that we've all been trying to yes.
Sir, if the electorate passes the use tax, what would the city actually do with that money? I mean, is it earmarked by statute for any particular?
Well, it's broken out. We have a flyer that we sent out with everything, and with what we talked about last year, that the state of Missouri said that we would have collected, right? That we did uncollected taxes that, there's $42,387,000 for the general fund. There's $21,193 for parks and recreation, there's $21,193 for public safety, there's $21,193 for transportation. So it is earmarked, and it would be attributed to specific departments for specific things. So convenience to me is well worth the 2.5% at this time. As a matter of fact, if you were to order from Lowe's on their corporate site and have it delivered to your house free of charge, because everybody's shipping everything free, you didn't go to Columbia. First of all, you would have to have a face mask on and go back to the car to get one because you forgot it, and go back and then have to deal with all that. But at the same time, your taxes, you're gonna save 2.5%, 3% because their taxes are that much higher in Columbia, the rate is. So that's the point of it. And, I know there's a lot of people buy from Amazon and places like that. I buy some stuff from Amazon. I'd have no problem paying another 2.5% just for the convenience of it. But those trucks, van trucks, couriers have to get here. They have to drive over the streets. We have to maintain that infrastructure streets, and we're not collecting any tax on those sales of those goods. And it does help the local, the argument is it helps the local brick and mortar, people a little bit. That's kind of a harder argument to make to me a little bit, but that being said, there is some substance to that. So, it makes a fair playing field, but typically people are buying for convenience of not wanting to get out of the house or go out of town to get something they can't find here. So we just need to encourage people to shop in town when they can and try to do that. So any other questions or thoughts on it? Okay. You're welcome to have one of these as well.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so you can have what we sent out in the bills this time. So that went over well. Any other thoughts, questions? Okay. We'll move right on then. We're going to move to now, we're going to open it up for comments from the citizens.
Linda Borman, 800 Jason Court. The speed limit thing tonight is the only thing that's being changed on that, Gamma Chance?
Yes.
What about Singleton from the railroad out to 124? Because I know that I brought that up at one time. And on Lakeview, coming into town from 124, speed limit still says 25, but going out says 30.
That's correct. That's not good change.
Is it supposed to be 30 both directions?
It's supposed to be 30 both directions.
It's not.
We'll have to change it.
It says 30 going from the parks, from the rec
Out.
center going out, but coming in, it still says 25.
Get that taken care of.
But I would still like to see Singleton change to 30 from the railroad tracks out to 124 also.
Any other comments from citizens? With no other comments from citizens, I'll close the comments from citizens, and we'll move on to the appointments that I had as number 7 on the agenda tonight. The first, I would entertain a motion of appointing Morgan Hess as a full-time dispatcher for the Centralia City Police Department. So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I think Steve's here.
he is right there. So,
Would you like to?
yeah,
Let me give you a little background here.
yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you do that.
Morgan comes to us, he's more or less the second generation, because if you remember Brandy Hess, that's his mom. So Morgan comes to us, he knows what the job is, and the fact is, he's it's the first time ever that we've had more males in dispatch than we ever had females, which is kind of funny and different. You can't call them Brenda's girls anymore. But Morgan's gonna be a great asset to us. The fact is, he's excited. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and the fact is, I think he's gonna work out real well. If you have questions for him or anything else, I'm sure he'd be glad to answer.
And so we use,
Nothing.
right, okay, got it. So welcome aboard. I want to formally welcome you to the full-time position over there, and thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That moves us to number 2 on the appointments, and I would entertain a motion of appointing Randy Mazingo as a full-time police officer at the Centralia City Police Department.
Do you want me first, or do you want to do your thing?
Why don't you go first?
You want me to go first? Okay. Randy comes to us as a 2013 graduate of Centralia High School. He is a Panther, so that, he earns the bonus points there. So the fact is, but Randy's a recent graduate, August of last year, from Law Enforcement Training Institute down at University of Missouri. Everybody I've talked to has nothing but good things to say about Randy. He was in competition over maybe a county east of us, and they moved on and I didn't. So the fact is I think I got one, and he's represented well here tonight. And there's actually 2 more that are not here. But like I said, he's going to be a great addition to us, and he's going to fit in really well. And like I said, I'm really glad to have him both. So.
Thank you.
I move that we appoint Randy Mazingo as a full-time police officer.
All right, second.
You can have it.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you, Randy Mazingo, to our police department, and it's nice to have a homegrown person here in town policing the other citizens now as well. So thank you for your service and coming on board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tara said, you got to repeat after her.
Now's it gets serious.
I, Randy Mazingo,
I, Randy Mazingo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri
and the Constitution of the State of Missouri
and the ordinances of the City of Centralia,
and the ordinance of the City of Centralia,
and that I will faithfully demean myself
and I will faithfully demean myself
in the office of police officer
in the office of police officer
of said city to the best of my ability,
of said city to the best of my ability,
according to law, so help me God.
according to law, so help me God.
James.
Okay.
You'll get a copy. Okay, so sign here. Oh, you don't sign that one. So just sign here. All right. Come aboard.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. Congratulations. Thanks.
Nice. That's for both of you guys. Okay?
Save all the applause for later.
Somebody, that's what we're doing. That moves us to item 5. Accounts payable over $1,250 equal $290,689.42. Let you look that over and I entertain a motion to pass this.
The baby.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
Thank you. You can sneak out too, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Hi.
So you go rescue the person that's got the other 2.
Yeah.
Make a motion, we approve the accounts payable of $1,250 and a grand total amount of $290,689.42.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. That moves us to the action agenda. Item 1 was passed at a previous meeting, so we're going to skip that, just so everybody knows that that got done in the previous meeting. So we're just going to 2. And so that moves us to item 2 on the action agenda under finance of a resolution adopting a fiscal year 2021-2022 budget for the City of Centralia. Resolution for that. And I'll entertain a motion.
Move that bill number 2395 be given its first and only reading by title only. Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
A resolution adopting a budget for the city of Centralia, Missouri for the fiscal year of 2021-22, commencing on April 1st, 2021, and ending on March 31st, 2022.
I move that bill number 2395 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Have a first and second for roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Hudson,
4.
Alderman Magley,
No.
Alderman Stevens,
4.
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Alderman Motley. 4.
So it passes. So bill number 2395 passes. Resolution number, please.
R-21-06.
Okay. I think Jenny is here for item 5 under legal. We're going to move down to section C under 5, renewal of the Chamber of Commerce. Authorize a contract renewal for the City of Area Chamber of Commerce for Centralia Economic Development Service in the amount of $6,000.00. So we can move to that.
And that is a 2-year contract.
Okay, a 2-year contract. Any questions, thoughts?
This is the same amount we've done before, correct?
Yes. Yeah, and Jenny was here just in case you had questions.
I wanted to give you these also.
Okay.
This is kind of the schedule of what we're trying to do this summer. I could proceed and you see what I have left from those.
Not too challenging, huh?
Well, we're trying to have a car show, but
It's not looking too hot.
it's, yeah.
Thank you.
I think it's doable, it's just not gonna be easy.
Okay.
But we're trying to do all that they're gonna allow us to do.
Yeah.
Look it up.
So we're in hopes of having all these activities this summer,
Okay.
is the plan,
All right.
so.
Good. All you can do is continue to plan and adapt, right?
Yeah, and some of them, a couple of them won't require an operational plan, the story walk, and I think really the wine walk can probably go without an operational plan. The rest will have to happen.
Good. Gotcha.
And if there's any questions,
Are you still looking at carnival rides in August?
we're gonna try to, after what I got today, I don't know. but-
I didn't know if that mixed the August plan or,
No.
No? Okay.
No,
okay,
That's good.
no, that's several months away, so
things could change.
we have time.
You're still having your golf tournament, right, Jenny?
Yes. Yes, and that's one that we don't have to have an operational
Okay.
plan.
Okay, yeah, okay. So we'll bring that up later, we'll go back to the order, but I want to give her a chance to speak and be noted for any questions.
Jenny said she had to leave.
Yeah, she told me she's on time constraints, so. So we'll move back up to where we were at, where we left off. That moves us to section B of the action agenda, under item 6, permits and licensing. I would entertain a motion
I have one.
for reading of authorizing July 4th fireworks displays at City Recreation Park.
I move that bill number 2396 be introduced and only reading by title only.
Okay, talk to you later.
First and second,
Is there a certain
title
time?
only, one time. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
A resolution issuing a permit to the city of Centralia, Missouri to conduct a special firework display at the city recreation park.
Move that bill number 2396 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Have a first and second for roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Hudson,
4.
Alderman Magley,
Yeah.
Alderman Stevens,
4.
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Alderman Motley. 4.
Bill number 2396 passes. Resolution number
R-21-07.
You. That moves us down to action agenda C, under legal. The first is an authorizing agreement of the prosecuting of the city of Centralia cases, Centralia Municipal Court for the role of prosecuting attorney. Oh, he is? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I was gonna have to, I didn't know yet who you were, so.
Yes, sir.
I asked him who the guy is, but he came. So now we know who you are. So we've wondered who's infiltrating us up here. But
I was in here spying.
yeah. You're pretty stealthy, so we're glad that, that you're the guy. So anyway, you might bring us up to speed about that before we move forward. We're going to have some discussion before we do this. So
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm kind of here just to introduce myself quickly to you guys, a little bit about the firm, answer any questions you might have, talk about the contract. So I am Jackie Rogers. I would be the named prosecutor for you guys according to our agreement. Born and raised in Paris, Missouri, did 4 years in the Army, right out of high school as a paralegal. Came back here, went to the University of Missouri for undergrad. Finance degree, bounced in and around businesses in Columbia before I realized what I really wanted to do was go back to law school. Went out to Malibu, California for a couple of years because it was fully funded out there. Came back to Central Missouri because Central Missouri is my home. Practiced law with Smith Lewis over in Columbia, but currently live just outside of Centralia over off of DRW Lane. So Centralia is my new adopted home. Commuting a little to Paris back and forth every day to Columbia was a little long, so Centralia was that nice middle ground that fit the bill.
good.
Smith Lewis has been around since the 1950s. We have 10 attorneys in our firm. Like I said, I would be the named prosecutor. We would have a secondary named prosecutor, my colleague Nick Rorick, who wasn't able to be here today. But even if Nick or myself weren't able to act, we would always have some prosecutor there and available to act. That's one of the benefits about a 10-prosecutor firm. Nature of the contract, we would represent you all in your prosecutions. That would be at a flat rate unless there was a trial. If there was a trial, then that would be billed at our regularly hourly rate. We are in the process currently, so I do currently prosecute, our firm currently prosecutes, and I'm the named prosecutor for the city of Sturgeon and for the city of Hallsville. And in addition to those two courts are together, those two dockets, and Ashland is on that docket as well. We're currently in the process of trying to work with the Columbia courts to see if they could flip-flop Centralia's docket and Ashland's docket so that there would be some built-in efficiencies there. So if that's something that you all would ultimately be amenable to, once the court agrees that that's something they might be willing to do, we'd be bringing that back to you guys, asking for your permission to do that.
Yeah.
That's generally it. Does anybody have any questions about myself, the firm, the contract? Be happy to answer them.
No, I mean, we know what that ended up being, so.
Yeah, we already.
Okay.
Committed and you want to do it, and it worked out, so.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's.
Well, it's a pleasure making all of y'all's acquaintances and putting names to faces.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Absolutely.
Kind of faces.
You bet.
Right, yeah.
Eyes.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you all.
We'll now move forward to, I would entertain a motion.
Bill number 2397 be given its first read by title only. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and the city clerk of the city of Centralia, Missouri to enter into an agreement with Smith Lewis LLP to serve as special counsel to the city of Centralia, Missouri to handle prosecution of city of Centralia cases in Centralia Municipal Court in the role of city prosecuting attorney for the city of Centralia, Missouri, and setting the rate of compensation for said special legal counsel.
Move that bill number 2397 be given its second read by title only.
Second.
First and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Heather, second read, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and the city clerk of the city of Centralia, Missouri to enter into an agreement with Smith Lewis LLP to serve as special counsel to the city of Centralia, Missouri to handle prosecution of city of Centralia cases in Centralia Municipal Court in the role of city prosecuting attorney for the city of Centralia, Missouri, and setting the rate of compensation for said special legal counsel.
Move that bill number 2397 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Have a first and second for roll call vote, adoption. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please. Sarah.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
Alderman Motley, Alderman Magley,
Yeah.
Alderman Stevens,
4,
Alderman Wilkins,
Bill number 2397 passes. Ordinance number, please.
3083.
Thank you. That moves us on to item 2 under legal, authorizing the ratification approval of the revised collective bargaining agreement with the Laborers International Union of North America Local 955 and to amend the pay scale. I accept the motion.
Move that bill number 2398 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
Have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the ratification and approval of a revised collective bargaining agreement with Laborers International Union of North America Local 955 and to amend the pay scale.
Move that bill number 2398 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
Have a first and second for the second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? There you go.
An ordinance authorizing the ratification and approval of a revised collective bargaining agreement with Laborers International Union of North America Local 955 and to amend the pay scale.
Move that bill number 2398 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Have a first and second for roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Roll call vote, please, Sarah.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
Alderman Motley, Alderman Magley,
No.
Alderman Stevens,
4,
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Bill number 2398 passes. Ordinance number.
3083.
Thank you. That moves us to item 3, authorizing the mayor and city of Centralia, Missouri to enter into an agreement for cemetery mowing services and Crest Landscaping LLC of Centralia, Missouri. Entertained a motion.
Move that bill number 2399 be given its first read by title only.
Second.
Have a first and second for the first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Progressive Landscaping LLC of Centralia, Missouri to provide cemetery mowing services for the city of Centralia, Missouri.
Move that bill number 2399 be given its second read by title only.
Second.
Have a first and second for the second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Progressive Landscaping LLC of Centralia, Missouri to provide cemetery mowing services for the city of Centralia, Missouri.
I move that bill number 2399 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Have a first and second for roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, Terry, please.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
Alderman Motley, Alderman Magley,
Yeah.
Alderman Stevens,
4,
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Bill number 2399 passes. Ordinance number
3085.
Yeah. Thank you. That moves us,
Before we get to this next one,
yeah,
I went knocking on doors this weekend. There are 10 driveways that empty out under Gunno Chance. I knocked on every door, talked to people at 9 of the 10 homes. One person was home but didn't come to the door. And I asked them simple, do they like the 25 or the 35? And these are people backing out or pulling onto Gunno Chance.
okay.
7 of the 9 I spoke to would like the speed limit to stay at 25. So that's 70% of the homes
On that road.
on that road. 78% of the people that I actually spoke to would prefer it to stay at 25.
There are a lot of people that walk and ride their bikes and run on the road as well.
And more kids are showing up there, and a lot of people walking their dogs down Gunno Chance. It was overwhelming when we talked to 7 homes. Talked to 9 homes, and 7 out of 9 would like it to stay.
We could table this and change it just on the east side of Jefferson, from Jefferson going east, because those homes are, so were some of those the ones that you talked to as well?
No, I talked to Jefferson to the train tracks. Because those were the ones that most people have been talking about and concerned about when you're coming back into town. So I can tell you how I vote right now based on talking to those people. I would not return that speed limit of 35. That's how I would vote at least. So those are people in Ward 1 and Ward 2.
Understood. So what I got from people in both subdivisions, but much more on the east side, was they were crazy about it. They inside, they said they got 25 in their subdivision, that's fine. But so in all of, and I probably had at least, conservatively, at least 30 complaints from people in that area, to different people. I can start naming names, but they lived in the subdivision, but it's a different situation other than the 2 or 3 houses before that. I talked to one lady actually that bought the home where Peeblers had been built back in the day with the acres there. And she said that'd be great if it got moved up, but just need enforced because people really are flying coming in town and they're really taking off going out of town. So that's going to take some enforcement, which you guys know.
When you go east of Jefferson, most of those initial houses right there, their houses are way back.
Right, they are.
The others, you're talking 2 car lengths.
So, I should.
Between Jefferson and the tracks. I went and asked the people who it would impact directly every single day, and then the rest of us drive on the road, they live on it.
It's good feedback.
Yes.
So, do we want to consider tabling this and looking at the one direction versus the other? That's the question I have.
So this, description list, it says from Columbia Street to 2,700 feet east of Jefferson Street. So we could alter it to say on Gannett Chance Drive from Columbia Street to Jefferson Street shall be 25 miles an hour, and from Jefferson Street for 2,700 feet east would be 35 miles per hour, or even 30, whatever the board would like to do.
I mean, I agree. I think right there in front of those houses, definitely where the 2 churches are, and they have the after-school programs, and we have all those houses lined up. I agree. I would not approve this either. I would want to see that area stay at 25, but I think past Jefferson, and then, I don't know what it is before the train tracks. I don't drive that way, I don't know, but.
And that's different than
Yeah.
people's backyards,
Right.
not their front yards and their driveways.
I would be fine with those being faster, but that section I would vote to stay at 25 as well.
That makes sense to me. That's a compromise of the situation, of the feedback I got. You know, that very little, Mr. Robinson, over there, he's the one that sent the email I read. I mean, on my side of the tracks, on your side, your own one.
Yeah, I spoke to him.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor,
Hmm?
you're talking 2 different types of roadways too. I mean, because there on Gannett Chance, if you're going west, and the fact is from Jefferson, the ditch on that south side is just horrendous. We've had vehicles crashing through it. And if you're gonna crash at 35, it's gonna be a lot worse, it's gonna be at 25. Yes, it's gonna take some enforcement, but the fact is, we're getting that stuff in place.
Got it.
So, and I'm like you all, the fact is there's no reason why that shouldn't be 25. I'd say from there all the way to the railroad tracks. So that's just my opinion.
You're-
35 out.
If it's 25, you don't have to worry about near as much heading out of town that way because there's a natural speed bump built in.
Yes, sir, there is.
Unless you're in a Hummer,
Yeah.
you better not go over that thing 30 mile an hour, let alone 35. So it's kind of the barrier in itself, right? So if they do, you'll be able to catch them and probably give them a ticket just because they're
Yeah, 'cause they're gonna be right there.
Probably. So anyway, so yeah, I would, I appreciate that review and what you did, and I think that's great, and I'm open to that modification or seeing if we're, as a group, will do that. So I'd entertain a motion for that at this time, if we can do that.
To table it.
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
First and second, table. The number 4 of the city code concerning speed limits within the city limits. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So we table at this point. Thank you. They jerked it open and you wonder if they're mad or they're just trying to get out.
I think that one's mad.
It's stuck.
They just stick.
Okay.
Might be both, I don't know. And they're mad and trying to get out at the same time. So.
And it's stuck.
Okay, I didn't see it going out, so I didn't make it. Yeah, I knew this, okay.
You're still better off.
That moves us to number 5 on the section C under the action agenda, under legal. Number 5, what we talked about briefly while she was here, Jean was here earlier, about the Chamber of Commerce contract. I would entertain a motion. Reading.
Move that bill number 2400 be given its first reading by title only.
Second?
We have a first and a second for first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk of the city of Centralia, Missouri to execute a contract with the Centralia Area Chamber of Commerce to perform economic development and promotion services for the city of Centralia, Missouri.
Move that bill number 2400 be given its second reading by title only.
Second?
We have a first and second for the second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk of the city of Centralia, Missouri to execute a contract with the Centralia Area Chamber of Commerce to perform economic development and promotion services for the city of Centralia, Missouri.
Move that bill number 2400 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second?
Have a first and second for a roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Roll call passes. Roll call vote, please, Sarah.
Alderman Hudson,
Four.
Alderman Motley. Four. Alderman Magley,
Yeah.
Alderman Stevens,
4.
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Okay, bill number 2400 passes. Ordinance number.
3086.
Thank you. That moves us to D, purchasing. Entertain a motion approving the first of fireworks LLC display July 4th, 2021, amount of $4,500.01.
It's the same price it was last year.
Didn't we do like a multi-year agreement, we just have to approve it each year or something?
We did before. I don't know that we've done that this year. I will look into it.
I was just curious.
Lieutenant,
What's listed here is based on the recommendation of Denny Rush. He works on this and communicates back and forth with them. So,
What was the price on that contract, sir?
$4,500.01.
Thank you, sir.
I bet they put the 1 cent in here and make it crazy.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of the fireworks.
Now, do we have to send this to the county and let them approve of this?
no, we didn't last year.
Okay, good.
I have a first and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Let's purchase the fireworks. We've done 7, the appointments, that's done. That moves us to item 8, which is a closed session. And could you read us in the closed session, Heather?
Motion.
Make a motion, please, for read us in the closed session, please, will you like?
You can read it.
I move that we go into closed session. During the meeting, the Board of Aldermen may elect to go into closed session and hold a closed vote, and the purpose of such closed session and closed vote shall be, as provided for under section 610021, subsection 3 of the revised statutes of Missouri for hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting a particular employee by a public governmental body.
Second?
Have a first and a second. So, this roll call vote.
Yes.
Roll call vote here, please. No. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Roll call vote there, please, passes.
Alderman Stevens,
Yes.
Alderman Hudson,
4.
Alderman Motley. 4. Alderman Magley,
Yeah.
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Alderman
always sound so thrilled.
So we came to the mayor's office for.
Well, who wants to stay, I guess is the question.
Is it gonna be a long one?
Couple hours.
Hard to tell. I don't want to tell somebody it's gonna be a 15-minute meeting, it'll be a half hour.
Let me do this real quick. Radar trailer sitting out here, received today. It's working. If you go by at 25, the lights will blink at you.
No, I did it
The
35.
lights will blink at
No,
you.
they did.
And you may have been out of whack. Or there's something blocking. Oh, you got your radar jammer. But, like I said, if you take a look at it, if you got any questions, holler at me. Like I said, that was gonna cost us. So that's our
When you putting it on down the channel?
What? It's probably going to Lakeview first, but I took a learning curve here because the program they sent me, I'm like, oh, why? But it's working, so.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
But like I said, it's, that was gonna cost us, and it took less than 3 weeks to get here, which really surprised me. So,
Yeah.
I will have information for you eventually, but like I said, I have to figure out the program first.
I have a kid in the military, I have a question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when we come out of closed session, we're just gonna adjourn anyway. I mean, discussion is going to continue.
He's graduating from Copenhagen in May, and then he's in the Army. He wants to get into the
Well, we wanted to,
His final goal is.
that's where he's gonna read, he is gonna talk about,
Yes,
our water.
that's his goal, and he has a plan.
We'll see, we'll see.
So I'm gonna probably do that for reference letter. So I wanna have lunch, and I'll tell you his story. My sister passed away, so like he's got a story, and we need reference letters, and so we can have lunch, maybe I'll give you a call, we can have lunch, and, okay, awesome, thank you so much.
No problem, thanks.
Follow the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right there it is. So you
Gotta go back way. So it seems
I get it.
ridiculous,
I get it. I'm gonna write you a story on it on my radar trailer.
Good job.
I'm going right here, bro. We'll go right
Well, not this week, please.
I can wait till
Yeah, I'll have it forever.
sometime after Wednesday.
Yeah. No, I've got taser training in the morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What time in the morning?
8 a.m.
As much as I'd love to attend and write about that. Yeah, that's why you played it then, I'll bet. See you later, sir.
died, you know, so, we ended up with a direct application. I don't think we can add any close anything like that going on, but it was brought up, last time, would not have affected the term of the mayor at that time. And I had two people that thought that I wanted a 3-year term, and they thought I was gonna get an extra year. So there's some education and all that of why it makes sense for that to move back, okay? It's the balance of power and fairness and equality.
Fauci and Dr. Birx, two self-promoters trying to reinvent history to cover for their bad instincts and faulty recommendations, which I fortunately almost always overturned.
So welcome aboard. Want to welcome you to the full-time position there. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Thank you, sir. That moves us to material employments, and I would entertain a motion of appointing Randy Mazingo as a full-time police officer of the Centralia City Police Department. You want me first, or do you think what you could go first? You want to go first? Okay. Randy comes to us as a 13 graduate of Centralia High School. He is a Panthers, but he earned bonus points there. So the fact is, Randy's recent graduate August of last year from law enforcement training institute. Randy comes to us as a 13 graduate of Centralia High School. He is a Panthers, but he earned bonus points there. So the fact is, Randy's recent graduate August of last year from law enforcement training institute in Missouri. Everybody I've talked to has nothing but good things to say about Randy. Dish over maybe a county east of us, and they moved on and I didn't. So the fact is, I think I got one, and he's represented well here tonight. And there's actually two more that are not here. But like I said, he's gonna be a great addition to us, and he's doing really well. And like I said, I'm really glad to have him both.
Thank you.
Rock.
All right. We're reconvening from closed session. Vote was taken to adjourn and move back into regular session. There were no votes taken. It was personnel was discussed, and that's where we ended up. No vote was taken, and that's where we came back into session here. So that moves us, I think, to you. We're gonna.
I'm just gonna give a brief description about, we've got some pictures here, if everybody wants to look at them, I'll send some this way and you can go that way. The rain last week out affected South Allen area again. We're looking at a couple ways, maybe to try to move forward a little bit with this, but Campbell Street was basically underwater. There's one in the middle of South Allen there at the 600 block, and they're building a house, and that had some of that drainage a little bit plugged up, but that's pretty much how it was all the way to the end. The last one there where you're looking out in the open field, that's right next to the Lutheran church. They took that hedgerow out, or fence row out right there on No Chance, and in the process have made a couple openings, and we now drain that whole field. So everything comes to No Chance now.
West of the Lutheran Church, is that right?
Yes, and by doing that, all of Allen Street from basically Southwest Circle gets a roadblock. And you can see on those pictures where it's sitting there swirling, you can't go anywhere because the ditch is already full on the other side of the road.
And there's so much volume on the other side, the hydraulic pressure is more than it can feed into.
So we have talked to the engineer that's kind of on call for us, and he's looking into a couple options. He's got a couple pipes he's concerned about. We'd already talked about this area before, but the one underneath, No Chance right there at Allen looks a little small. The one at No Chance and Jefferson that runs north-south on just right on the west side of Jefferson, and then it crosses at about 150 feet by Russell Pace's airport. Right before it gets to Russell's. It goes underneath Jefferson by Larry Bryson's, heading all the way down to Methodist Church, behind Darren Adams, all that. Those three pipes probably need to be changed.
The question is this, can that tie into the we talked about the road of Jefferson from the railroad street, the railroad tracks all the way down to that intersection? as well as up for
In front.
stormwater.
In front of the high school and the sidewalk on Booth also.
Okay.
That's what we're kind of looking at.
And we
maybe
can go,
tying
but
that
we
in.
can go on Gano, can we go west to take care of those culverts?
I think
Because
we-
it feeds to the,
I think that he said we could do those, that would plan in, he's pretty sure. So he's gonna look at it either way, just to see
Sure.
what maybe we could do and give us what it needs to be on that. So I just wanna give everybody a heads up on how bad it was. Chris and I took a ride, and at one point he said, "What is that in the road?" And I said, "Well, that's actually the only part of the road you're seeing, it looks like a whale."
yeah, the
surface.
back of a whale surfacing, but, all those people over there, we were talking about it. I've been frustrated about the gravel roads, this older gentleman has been here before, as well, remember him, right? But, something that,
Kind of grandfathered in, or are we waiting for them to sell so many houses? I can't
no,
remember.
that's all, they're on us. I mean, there's no way that the developer's gonna do it.
Who's grabbing it?
Campbell Street,
So Campbell was platted,
agriculture. What?
whenever it was developed, the developer was able to go off of the original plans that were approved back in the 1960s, and that meant zoning regulations at that point in time. So he said, well, I'll build a road, but I don't want to build it to current specifications, and the city said no. So we said, okay, here's gravel road, and that's the way it's ended.
I was trying to remember which one this was, because we.
The Campbell one off the valley.
No, I understand where it is, but
Yeah,
which
and then
situation?
Ivy's the other one that's been mentioned before, back behind here, and actually there's houses been built in what I thought was a floodplain, but.
So
Did you say
we do
Ivy
have an
Street,
idea. We do have some ideas about this.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike, what we talking about on that?
We're looking at maybe trying to curb Campbell Street this year, both sides of it, get it ready. Next year, add that to the paving project, pave it, put a crown on it, use the curbing to get the water out, and hopefully by that time, we'll have some answers on what we can do on Jefferson, and all those, try to tie all this together, to get rid of some of this water. Give it a little height to go. Right now, the houses, and everything is so flat, there's just nowhere for it to go.
It's on the ground.
So, we're looking at that. We are also, we're gonna pave, Ivy from the end of the asphalt on Ivy all the way to Orchard. It's not gonna get any better, it's not gonna ever change, so we might as well go ahead and pave it. It's kind of an embarrassment if you wanna get right down to it, the way it looks, both of them.
They're two black eyes for sure.
Yeah, so Ivy has a real good base, been like that for, I bet, 25 years. So it's ready to pave, the pavers seen no problem in doing it. So we've got that on the list to do this year, get the curbing up and work on Campbell next year.
There's no curbing on Ivy right now, so we would just extend it just like it is. The gravel part, we'll just,
Ask for any money
yeah.
yet? Ask for any money yet?
We did talk about on Campbell, asking the homeowners to help with this cost for curb and gutter and, the asphalt. What does the board think about that?
And a minimal charge will help, every little bit's gonna help.
I'm not talking about that, so I can't hide from it.
I think the biggest opportunity we have for getting help from those people over there after going down the street and talking to them, again, for the third time, I was over there, been in since I've been there, and before, and now, again, is potentially they'll help us with their culverts, because they got the plastic culverts in, and we're gonna figure out. But I think it'll be a uphill battle for us to get them to help pay for a road that they bought and were misled on. Not by the city, but by whatever circumstances and
Yeah,
whatever.
but they won't understand that, they see it as a city road.
No, that's my point. I'm saying, so they got a house and they know they're the only street in town that's underwater and without a road in front, I mean, they have a road, so it's we got horse trading all over there, really. I mean,
Putting it nicely.
and
So you put storm sewer on Campbell too, with curb and gutter?
We're gonna try to put the curbs far enough back that they'll actually, and we may try to use the culverts that are in there and let that help hold some of that down. having the asphalt, Christensen, when I showed it to him, said, well, if you'll make the approaches, go back and cover that, that'll give them enough weight to hold that back. So we may have to widen it. The road is only, what did I tell you, 20 feet? I think it was 20 feet wide.
And I did have 3 or 4 people when we were talking say they would be glad to.
So the curb would actually go in the ditch, what ditch is there?
Yeah.
Several of them asked for the option to be able to pay for it running up to their concrete, to pave, not just through the ditch, but to there, and they pay the difference. Pay for what that costs. So that might figure into. us getting the-
We've done that before. It kind of makes a headache on ones that don't, but we can work around that, I think.
Right, well, we had people ask, well, when you do that, I'd like to have the option for them to give me a price of what it would cost for this extra 10 feet
Yeah.
to my driveway or whatever.
If we do that, I think we can leave the culverts there and make it stay and
Okay.
get the drainage, I think. We'll have to shoot it really good. Just need to take a little time to get that done.
So it's the flooding because it's so flat right there, with the houses being so flat and that bill's flat?
If you look, if you go drive out there sometime, then you will see it. The road is,
It's the same height.
it's the same height as where the house level is, to be quite honest with you. So these people have water up in their, some of their yards within a few, 10 feet of their house, some of them. It's crazy. Those houses should have been built 18 feet, 18 inches higher than where they were built and taken.
I know I made none of them.
The other thing I wanted to go over is, we got our wastewater bids in last Wednesday, and they came in, as we kind of were afraid of, higher than expected. We got 2 areas, there's 4 base bids that they did. You had earthwork, irrigation, piping, and pump houses. Irrigation came in a little under. Dirt work was pretty close, a little bit over. Piping was about 300,000 over, and pump houses were about 750,000.
We are $986,000 over engineer's estimates on the bids.
I have had,
How much, did you find out why that one was so high? Was the motor
The pump house you mean?
or? Yeah.
That's
I'm
what he-
sitting there looking at these, he sent me the bids and all the different specs on them.
Mm-hmm.
The buildings for the farmers' pump houses are 11.5 by 9.5 foot with a 6-inch concrete slab. And they estimated $90,000 to do that. Metal building, 3 sides only.
That's crazy.
The closest, the bid that got it was $270,000 just for the pump house. So I sent pictures today of what we're talking about, and I got one response. When he first said, he said, well, that wasn't what I was expecting to see as far as what the pump houses look like. And I'm thinking, you surely weren't, because
That's a lot of money.
we built about a 22 by 22 building at the water plant for $9,000.
Yeah.
Fully enclosed, working door, heat, everything, so. We had a meeting, I went with the electrician that's on the pump house side of it, that'll be doing the work there.
How many pump houses are there?
We'll have to add one at Benoit's, one at Rhodes, and one at the city, out there by the northeast building. And they're refurbishing everything in them, but they're painting the pipe and doing all this, and it just doesn't need that. We can put a primer on it, be fine, we can do that ourselves. I mean, there's ways, we got to looking at things, and he's found all sorts of things we can cut cost on. So,
Like the building, a lot of it that needs to be worked out.
well, and we've got a meeting set up for next Tuesday at 2 o'clock, and I've asked that the people that got that bid was Martin Construction that are doing the water plant right now. So they're gonna be here, his electrician, which is Paul Jeffries, who's doing the water plant right now. That's who I went with today. Nick Martin's supposed to be up this week, I'm gonna go with him. I think we can get a lot done, and then the engineers and all of us will meet next Tuesday. And I think we can get this straightened out. Some of this stuff is what DNR is requiring, and it's completely silly, it's completely over the top.
And material costs are still running at record highs.
Yep. And really, I was surprised The pipe price didn't kill us. I was expecting that to be
I think the
way.
pipe would be outrageous.
I did too. I thought that would be the one that would get us. But the electric, probably the electric and the valves and VFDs, those things will get you every time.
Well, but the problem with the pipe is they're not sure they're gonna be able to get the pipe. There's no guarantee they can get the pipe,
Or-
unless stay on schedule,
Or
potentially.
keep the maintained.
Right,
bridge.
right, and so it's a double-edged thing, risk there, I mean, so we talked about, we need to go back to the powers to be and tell them, we haven't done anything wrong, but there may be a possibility we can't meet the deadline because it's out of our control. And they're checking on that, right? We're
Yeah.
gonna check back with them and say, what about in this situation where we have somebody that's acted in good faith, they've done everything they need to do to keep it moving forward, not waited and procrastinated and carried on, and there's gotta be a one-off here.
Yeah, and we're still waiting on DNR to do their job on a lot of stuff too, so if we could get them to hurry up, that would help us a bunch.
Because there's a D date when you cannot release in the stream,
Yeah,
the ditch.
it's June of 22.
Yes. I mean, this all still affects, I mean, that sounds like it's a long way away, but it's really not when it comes to a project like this, so.
I think we're gonna get there, it's just, there's gonna be a lot of cutting, and I'm not saying cutting the product in, I think it's getting products that'll work and still give us the same results, so I think that's what we're looking at on that.
Well, and then there should be some things that we can actually do.
Right.
There's no reason we can't work in some areas to cut some costs too, and take it on ourselves, I mean, where we can, right?
Yep.
We're looking at all that, so I just want to be clear, we talked about that we are looking at all those ways. How can we help accommodate a situation that's out of our control? How can we help bring it into better control?
That's
I mean,
all
if the building's still coming high, is it something we can put up? With Craig or Matthew and then.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything about, I volunteered Jeff for part of the day too, as far as electric department, so. And I would say, I would cut down about 1,400 foot of stuff we could take off the electric bid. And he said that could be a job changer right there, so. We'll see what they do. He's talking, the electrician's talking to Boone County, if they'll let us, they've already got lines running to both pump houses. So they'll let us tie onto that and use existing, that's gonna cut us 1,400 on one, 1,300 on another. And that's pretty monumental pricing, so. I think we're gonna get there, it's just, we still got a little more plowing to do.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
First and second to adjourn, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? We're adjourned. So, I've always wanted to do that, that's for fun.